1. Population control. There exists in academia, the so-called intelligentsia, within the world's industrial and banking elite, and in governments, a group of people who sincerely believe that population must be limited. They believe most new births should be terminated, except those from their own class. They are the founders of abortion, as we know it now. This is just the beginning for them. This group also believes that the older of our population must also be controlled. They believe it is too expensive to maintain the older people in our population. They sincerely believe that the wealth of the world is theirs to control. They have begun their campaign in many nations. That program will be coded mercy termination of life. These godless creatures will kill our older people to help them. They already have their collaborators, those doctor butchers that now are willing to kill God's children. You or your parents could be next. These foolish people don't serve God. They believe they are God. Let us look at some of the leaders of the abortion movement and see what they stand for. First, let us look at Planned Parenthood. They are the number one abortion provider in the world. Planned Parenthood is also the principal lobbyist for legislation to make and keep abortion legal. They have hundreds of millions of dollars available to influence both legislators and the courts. Planned Parenthood and their cronies have already spent hundreds of millions of dollars on the promotion of abortion as a birth control technique. Who is Planned Parenthood and what do they stand for? In 1922, Margaret Sanger founded the American Birth Control League, which was renamed Planned Parenthood in 1942. In 1952, Sanger helped found the International Planned Parenthood Federation, IPPF, serving as its first president until 1959. Even today, Planned Parenthood proudly proclaims Margaret Sanger as its visionary founder. Margaret Sanger's 1922 manifesto, The Pivot of Civilization, states the following: birth control, which has been criticized as negative and destructive, is really the greatest and most truly eugenic method, and its adoption as part of the program of eugenics would immediately give a concrete and realistic power to that science, as the most constructive and necessary of the means to racial health. Margaret Sanger, The Pivot of Civilization, Brentanos Press, 1922, p. 189. What does Margaret Sanger mean by racial health? She means very simply an end to the non-white races and what she terms inferior classes through whatever means possible. Why are not the black leaders and other ministers shouting out to their people what this godless group has planned? Why are not all the Christian churches crying out against this evil? Deceit is why. Did not the Lord Jesus Christ himself say, "All have been deceived"? Planned Parenthood has ties to Hitler and the Nazi Party. Both Hitler and Planned Parenthood share the common vision of a master race. Planned Parenthood's board of directors included avowed Nazi supporters like Dr. Lathrop Stoddard, the author of The Rising Tide of Color Against White Supremacy, and another book praising the Nazi sterilization law. Planned Parenthood used their official publication to spread Nazi propaganda. In April 1933, Birth Control Review, the official publication of American Birth Control League, now Planned Parenthood, published an article by Dr. Ernst Rubin, who was Hitler's director of genetic sterilization and a founder of the Nazi Society for Racial Hygiene. In this article, Dr. Rubin wrote, "The danger to the community of the unsegregated feeble-minded woman is more evident. Most dangerous are the middle and high grades living at large, who, despite the fact that their defect is not easily recognizable, should nevertheless be prevented from procreation. In my view, we should act without delay." Grades meaning classes. Professor Dr. Ernst Rubin, head of Nazi Germany's eugenics program. Eugenic sterilization, an urgent need. Birth Control Review, Volume 11, Number 4, April 1933, pp. 102-4. Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood also believe that it is imperative that the middle and high grades also be prevented from procreation. Here are Margaret Sanger's views as published in The Pivot of Civilization, p. 91. There is sufficient evidence to lead us to believe that the so-called borderline cases are a greater menace than the out-and-out defective delinquents who can be supervised, controlled, and prevented from procreating their kind. Sanger calls the middle and upper classes the borderline cases and all dark-skinned people defective delinquents. How far did they intend to go? Their goal is to eliminate all classes except their, in their own minds, superior class. Abortion is just the beginning. If you think this point of view is only shared by a small minority of people, just visit some of our leading universities. Read Sanger's Plan for Peace. What does Margaret Sanger mean by racial health? She means very simply an end to the non-white races and what she terms inferior classes through whatever means possible. What percentage of the population does Sanger intend to place in these segregated concentration camps? Here is her answer. Nearly half, 47.3%, of the population had the mentality of 12-year-old children or less. In other words, that they are morons. pp. 263. Concentration camps. Yes, that was their plan. Did the Nazis get the idea from Planned Parenthood or the other way around? It does not matter. Remember, 40 million innocent babies have been killed since 1970 in America alone. Hitler was not as an efficient killer as Planned Parenthood is. Hitler's words are almost identical to Sanger's. Read this quote from Hitler's book, Mein Kampf, Volume 1, Kreutzing 10, 1925. This is in keeping with the humanitarianism, which, to avoid hurting one individual, lets 100 others perish. The demand that defective people be prevented from procreating equally defective offspring is a demand of the clearest reason, and if systematically executed, represents the most humane act of mankind. When people abandon God and His laws, there is no end to the evil they are capable of.